Jon Decker standing by right now from Fox News. John, good morning. What a week in politics, huh?
It really was remarkable. I've covered 6 confirmation hearings. This was obviously the most unique one that I've covered, and it's not over yet. The FBI will continue its supplemental investigation this week. There's a time constraint on it. It will just be 1 week in length, and there's a focus that will only be on the sexual assault claims made by 2 women against Brett Kavanaugh. They will not look into, for instance, whether or not he lied under oath about his use of alcohol while a student, either in high school or in college. And so that is a report that will be submitted to the Senate Judiciary Committee and then disseminated to other members of the Senate before they vote on the nomination of Judge Kavanaugh.
John, as a student of law, have we ever seen a defense done by the nominee that was as political as what we saw last Thursday?
No, we haven't. You know, as you allude to, I'm a lawyer in addition to being a White House correspondent, and I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen any federal judge come up before the Senate Judiciary Committee and talk in such political terms and tones like Judge Kavanaugh did last week. And there are some who claim that this shows that he will not be able to be objective if he gets on the high court. I think that's sort of a wait-and-see approach, but it was a very unique tactic that Judge Kavanaugh used last week when he made his opening statement and continued on that same tone in terms of taking Q&A from the senators.
I did think he lost his cool a couple times. We talked about that right after. But if he really believes he didn't do this and he feels like he's totally being attacked, railroaded, right, is a great word for this, railroaded. Is it any surprise that he said, this is what you're doing to me? You're ripping apart my family, you've destroyed my name, and you're doing it in the name of politics?
Well, I think that, any one of us could put ourselves in the position of being a wrongly accused individual. That being said, there's usually a lot of deference that nominees have when they come before the Senate, and, you saw what I saw. Judge Kavanaugh, I can understand, the feeling of being wrongly accused, if indeed that's what Judge Kavanaugh feels. But you have to have some deference for the Senate and for those senators. And, he continually interrupted members of the Senate while they were doing their Q&A portion with Judge Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I thought, and then the comment about asking the senator if she had ever blacked out while drinking. Of course, she had just told a story about the fact that her father, at age 90, is still a member of Alcoholics Anonymous.
And then he came back and apologized. You remember there was a break right after that. He came back and apologized to Amy Klobuchar, the senator from Minnesota, that he said that to. But, he also threw back questions at other senators. You may recall the question about, what's your favorite drink? When he says that he likes beer, he asked that to Senator Whitehouse of Rhode Island. It's just I thought it was an odd way of approaching, what is your confirmation hearing, in which you typically have a lot of deference for the senators who are asking questions of you and passing judgment on you before voting on your nomination.
Well, it was a Trump strategy. There's no doubt about that. And the president seemed very pleased. The
president liked it.
Yeah, he did like it. Tell me what your thoughts are on the FBI investigation. So, if they're not able to get into any of the testimony, like, for instance, did he basically lie about the binge drinking, saying he really never had blacked out? And there are people out there saying, well, yeah, I was a classmate of his, and he totally did. He lied on the stand there or lied to Congress. If that's not going to be a part of this, and no other witnesses, if they don't get any, if the FBI doesn't come up with any other corroborating witnesses, we're right back at square one, aren't we, on Friday?
Yeah, and that's what senators will have to, obviously make their determination on. I think that to a certain extent we're speaking about a bunch of unknowns because we don't know how those investigations by the FBI will proceed, who they will interview in full, the extent of those interviews. So, I think that's a really good question to ask me. I think I'm would be in a much better position to answer your question once we see the report that the FBI comes back with on, let's say Friday or so. But right now, I think it's sort of a work in progress. It's difficult to make those kind of determinations.
One more observation, I'd like your take on it. You really take a look at a Monica Lewinsky and say, because I thought that was utterly disgusting back when that happened. But when you think about it, without that blue dress, who would have believed Monica Lewinsky?
Well, I think that's a big part of that particular situation.
Yeah.
You're right. I covered that when President Clinton was the president, and you're absolutely right. She said type of story, but she had some additional evidence that she handed over to Ken Starr and his investigators that forced Bill Clinton to change his story. And, of course, that led to the impeachment of Bill Clinton. Of course, he was not convicted in the Senate, but certainly a stain on his presidency.
And interestingly, well, no pun intended, and interestingly, Kavanaugh was a part of that team, right?
Kavanaugh was a part of the investigative team. I think for 4 full years he was on Ken Starr's team. So, yes, that is correct.
Which of course, when Kavanaugh is using the Clinton, this attack by Clintons during his opening the other day, again, that's all part of this. It's really crazy. So, Jon Decker, as always,
full circle. Yeah, that's right.
All coming full circle here. It's going to be an interesting week, and we'll see what comes of all of it. Thanks, as always, for your time this morning.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Jon Decker from Fox News. He's the best one to get on this because he's an attorney.
And he's right there, too, covering.
And he's right there and has been covering for a long time.
Actually, a couple weeks ago, I heard President Trump call him. It was Jon Decker, Fox News, and he asked him 2 questions.
Yeah.
So he's right there
each
and every day.
In the thick of it. So great to have him on.